Good morning, everyone, and welcome back. I thought that today we could focus on dual relationships, what that looks like, what that constitutes as dual relationships that are ethical and dual relationships that are unethical, because not all dual relationships are unethical, right? So today we're going to just take a dive into the portion of the AA MFT Code of Ethics that discusses dual and multiple relationships. Now, this is just one of our this is just one of the standards from our Code of Ethics that we have, and it just discusses how we need to be aware of our influential positions that we have when it comes to our clients, because our clients respect us, right? And they also trust us, right? But we can't really be put in those positions where we are influencing this client, and then it becomes an power imbalance when it comes to the relationships that we have with them, right? And when that dual relationship is unavoidable, we need to do what? We have to take appropriate precautions when it comes to that, right? Whether if it's supervision, consultation, documentation, so that your judgment does not come impaired when it comes to certain situations regarding dual or multiple relationships. On the exam, you might see some questions that constitute a dual or multiple relationship. And the thing about it is, you must know what that looks like, what it even sounds like. So when you're reading it, you're like, wait, this isn't making any sense, right? But when it comes to some of the ethical principles, first thing is always first. The client's welfare is always a primary concern. So what that looks like is safety. Our clients always come first. Are what we doing, with the dual or the multiple relationship, is it going to cause harm to this client? Safety needs to come first, even when it comes to dual or multiple relationships. Your boundaries that you have, they need to be clear and they need to be professional. You cannot have blurred boundaries with the client, because then what happens? They become confused. They don't know what's going on, and they're following your lead because why? We are the professionals. They trust us, right? And we may, considerably have that power when it comes to certain things, right? So we need to make sure that we are avoiding harm towards our client at all times. We can't have conflict of interest. We can't have any relationships that is going to impair our objectivity when it comes to helping that client in therapy. Right? So then these are the different types of dual relationships. And the ones that are clearly unethical are the ones that it's like, wait a minute, what am I doing? I need some support. Sexual, romantic involvement with the client should never happen, not even after 2 years. I think that was a thing, and now it's changed. Not even after 2 years, you shouldn't have any romantic involvement, sexual encounters with current clients or former clients. I don't care how long it's been. Right? But then we also have those ones that are kind of like, is this an unethical relationship? Is it breaking any boundaries when it comes to social business or a family involvement? Potentially unethical. You really have to pay attention to what that looks like. And I've had people come to me too. I've had friends that are like, I have a cousin or somebody that's seeking therapy. Would you be able to work with them in therapy? And I really have to think about it. And I'm like, I don't really think that's going to work. It's potentially, it's up to you. Your clinical judgment also needs to take part in that. And if you don't know, then always ask. Just ask, seek consultation, seek supervision, right? Possibly acceptable. I have seen questions that said, it's okay for you to go to a client's wedding. Now, I don't know anything about that. That I don't know. I've heard people talk about going to a client's wedding, but I'm like, what? I don't know if I could ever do anything like that. And again, it's when it comes to those that are possibly acceptable, use your best clinical judgment. Is this going to impair the relationship with my client? Is it going to be some type of exploitation? The next time we do have session with each other, think about it. I've seen questions that talk about rural communities, small communities. Sometimes those dual relationships are unavoidable, because what if you're the only MFT that is in that town and the next town is 25-30 minutes away? right? So you want to think about like, how can I keep the boundaries in place when it comes to me living in this small community, and the next town is maybe 30, 40, 50 minutes away for them to see another therapist. You talk about the boundaries with your client in therapy, and then you just kind of like, you work with it. You find a ways to make it work. On the exam, you might see a question that says that. I've seen questions that said, you're the only MFT in the town, and the next, I guess, therapist lives 25 miles away, but there's the cashier at this local shop wants to see you for therapy. What do you do? And you think about how this could possibly impact it or whatever, or you go over boundaries in therapy. Those questions have been worded many different ways. I will do a video for us navigating those dual relationship questions so that you have a better way of looking at them and navigating them when it comes to the exam. Now, of course, I did a chart. I love charts. I put all of this, so I took some information that I knew and I threw it inside of ChatGPT, and it made it for me, and it's just so beautiful, and it's easy for me to understand. I also posted it in my group. If you are in my group, I have these charts so you are able to like download it and keep it for your own personal studying component that you have. So here's the thing. This is a lot, but take your time and look through it. It will teach you a lot about how you navigate certain questions that come to dual relationships on the exam. There are questions that you ask yourself, and I used to do this myself. Again, I'm not teaching you anything that I didn't do myself, right? I would always have to pay attention to, well, is this one or two roles that I'm seeing here? Is this a therapist, but also now the person wants you to come to yoga class with them, or something along those lines. Pay attention to how many roles. Is it one role, or is it more than one relationship role that you have with this client? Dual relationships can be ethical. Some may overlap, just like the question about the small community. It's okay, but pay attention. Pay very close attention to how that vignette is worded so that you're not picking the incorrect response. You're always going to have to look for clues regarding what. Is it a personal relationship? Is it social? Is it business? Or do you have romantic ties with this client? Have you had some type of romantic ties with this client? Pay attention to it. Like I said, safety comes first. Am I going to be harming this client? Is this going to impair my objectivity when I'm working with this client in therapy? The client's welfare is always going to come first. You need to always choose an answer response that is going to have you preventing any risk of that relationship that you have with the client. Right? Seek consultation, supervision. You can never go wrong with choosing an answer that's telling you to like possibly seek consultation or supervision when it comes to dual relationships, right? So when you choose a response that's talking about seeking consultation or supervision, that's the ethical decision making that you're taking, right? And it's going to protect who? It'll protect the therapist. And in the long run, you're also going to be protecting your client from, doing any harm with them, right? Always document. There may be a response that says, if you did this, then you're going to document it. Right? Same way when it comes as like gift giving. Be careful that the gift that they're giving you is not going to now impair, your judgment, or it's going to make this client look at you any kind of differently or whatever. And then you're always going to have to document it. Clear boundaries must be maintained to protect the therapist's integrity. Clear boundaries must always be maintained. Right? Pay attention to that. So here we are. Here it is on the test. You may see things like this. Sexual relationships, always unethical. Your response needs to be avoided. You should never be having sex with your client. Therapies with friend or family, you should never be doing it. You need to refer out. Consult with the supervisor. You should never be doing it. Accepting a gift. Pay attention. How much did it cost? What's the intent behind it? And document it. And consult if you're unsure, right? Social media. No. We should not be friends with our clients on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever the case may be. Never. See an answer that says anything about a friend wanting to Anything about a client wanting to friend you on social media or Facebook, always avoid it. Avoid it at all times. Small town, the rule overlap. There it is again. There it is again. Pay attention to how that vignette is worded. Sometimes it's unavoidable. You see a client that you live in a small community and you're in the gym one day working out and your client walks in, what do? Do you go to a gym that's 25 miles away? Do you tell your client to go to a gym that's 25 miles away? No, you talk about it in session. You talk about the boundaries in sessions. Switch days. Which days are you going? Which days are you doing this or whatever? Talk about it in session. But if it's easy enough, I guess, go to a different gym if you want to. Again, it's your clinical judgment. But pay attention to those answer responses. If you know that the best response out of all of the 4 is going to be discuss boundaries with the client in session about your client that walked in the gym, then that's going to be the best response. A public event. Again, I've seen questions that said you are allowed to go to your client's wedding, but you need to be discussing that. If no harm is going to be done, if no boundaries are going to be blurred, you need to be discussing it. And we can go over some questions I can show you. Okay, of course, again, charts, because I love charts. They make me feel safe. Again, these are your code of ethics that has to do with multiple relationships and dual relationships. This is what it tells you. What's prohibited, what's allowed, and what's not allowed. Get to know your code of ethics. Read your code of ethics. This is also posted in the group for your own studying time, okay? Here we are. Some exam tips. Never have sex with your clients or romantic relationships, even 2 years after termination. You should never be doing it. Again, pay attention to how those questions is worded. Right? Social events, caution. You want to look at it as if, is it going to impair my judgment? Can I exploit my client? Documentation and consultation. What's generally acceptable? Overlapping. Rule communities, right? Gifts with the intent, with clear boundaries that have been put in place. Makes sense? I hope I'm making sense. Again, here we are. Avoid exploitation. Therapists must not use their position to exploit clients, emotionally, sexually, or financially. Avoid impairing judgment. Dual roles that can lead to professional objectivity should be avoided at all times. And again, and this is just a repeat. It's a repeat, so I want it to click. All dual relationships are they're not avoidable. Some of them are going to happen, right? Some of them are going to happen. But when that happens, informed consent, supervision, consultation, careful documentation, and these are going to protect both the client and the therapist, right? So, how do we answer dual relationship questions when it comes to the exam? How do we answer these questions, right? Again, what comes first? Safety comes first. Even when it comes to dual relationships, am I harming my client? Ask yourself, is this action going to cause harm to my client? And if it is, then you need to avoid it. Sexual relationships with a client is always going to be unethical. Please don't choose a response that says, oh, after 2 years, then you can date them. No. Romantic relationships, no, it's never allowed. Giving a client a ride or accepting a small gift, it depends on how that vignette has been worded. I've seen answer responses that says, oh, hey, you'll meet the client at the hospital or something like that. Or, drive the client home because the client was intoxicated. I've seen answer responses that said that. But if that's the best answer out of the 4, then it's probably going to be the correct answer. Your best practices must always come first. Ethically decide on what it is that you need to do. Your ethical decision making is always going to make a difference. Consult, supervise, document, right? Your informed consent needs to be included. Like, oh, if dual roles are going to be unavoidable, put it in the informed consent. Let them know, like, hey, we're in a small town. We might see each other. These are the expectations. These are the boundaries we need to have, right? And pay attention to the red flags in the vignette. You should not be becoming friends with a client on social media. You should not be providing therapy to family or friends. You should not be entering a business relationship with a client. So that means, like, if you were a client, you saw this client for therapy, and then now, oh, the client is asking you, well, you supported me so much in getting my business started off the ground. Would you come and be? No, you cannot. Now you're doing too much. Yes, I helped you, but this is my position. This is my job. This is my business. Not to be having a business relationship with the client. No, that is completely avoidable. You can avoid business relationships with clients, right? Okay, I hope this made sense to each and every one of you. I'm trying to think. I can't remember if I had any dual relationship or multiple relationship questions when I took my exam. I can't remember, but I've heard some other people have had some of the questions on their exam. So be prepared to navigate these questions. I will do a video for how to navigate these questions, finding the best answers to these questions. I just got to find some, and then I'm going to put them all together, and then we'll work through them together, following the breadcrumbs, how to figure out these best answers to dual relationships, because sometimes they can get kind of like, I don't know, but I'll teach you how to navigate some of the answer responses and which one are some of the best responses and why some of the other ones are not. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free. Leave me a comment, leave me a message. Let me know if I made any sense today. All of these charts that you saw here are posted in my group. If you are in my group, go ahead and use it for your study material if you would like to. Again, I hope this video was able to teach you something and you have a better understanding of dual relationships when it comes to taking the MFT national exam. I will see you all later.